All right, everybody. You guys made it. You made it through digital certification. How's everybody feel about that? It's been a long week, but you can see how far that we came. Before I introduce our closing speaker, I want to make a few comments about our week here in Phoenix. This is the time of year we come together and we celebrate, our culture, what, is the talented employees that make up SEM. And when we came here, we started out with the philosophy we're going to celebrate the greatest sales, in our history, the greatest year of sales performance. And I think we're going to be able to say we're also going to celebrate the best sales meeting we've ever had. So, this has been a fantastic week, and it's one of those where I'm so proud of what everybody was able to put in for this week. Thomas mentioned it this morning, but this was our finest hour. I really believe that. It was one of those where this was a meeting that took a lot of effort. Everybody in this room contributed to what it, ultimately became, and that is a side-by-side comparison of our digital products to what our competitors are doing. And we said we needed to take our level up a notch, and you guys did that. You hit that level, and now is the challenge that's in front of us is we can't drop. We can't take that down a notch because I think Andy made a great point this morning. There's a noise level that needs to be out there about our digital products. There's so much to show. You've seen so much across Connect, across Alex, across Eris, with LearnSmart, so many other things that we've got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of people that need to see some very, very cool features. So the whole start of the meeting, I said we got to get out to a quick start. We've got to get going, and we got to get those tech demos up. We need to be very aggressive in getting class tests. Our message has to be the loudest. So if you feel at that point where you leave this meeting, don't let yourself drop down. Don't let those skills fade off. Practice. Don't let this be a waste. Practice them. Make sure that you focus in on the areas where that you've deemed in that assessment where you need to have some work, and make sure you hit that first call out of the park. That's what's going to be great about this meeting. Can I get everybody to do that? Yeah. All right. So, starting next week, we start a new year. It's a fresh start for everybody. No matter what our performance was in 2009, everybody starts at day one. So it's going to be a great race again. But I do want to congratulate and thank a few people that really made this possible. First of all, I do want to thank Ken Peterson and the marketing team for incredible prep materials that they provided for this group. Let's give them a round of applause. Can I get the marketing directors to stand up for a second? All the marketing directors? I don't know, David Mackett, is he in here today? All right, we'll definitely acknowledge that, but this group was incredible. They were tireless as far as everything that they put into all the details of this meeting and being able to execute it, and we couldn't have done it without their help. So I want to make sure we acknowledge all of this. So I also want to thank the editorial team and Marty Lang. They've done something at this meeting that we've never done before, as we've been able to deliver not only print products, but full digital courses that are not completed yet, but you've seen right now how far they've come so fast in working with the digital team, and the population and the content in them is phenomenal. So thank you, Marty, and your team. And this meeting, I think we can all say that Andy Winson and your digital team, you guys are rocking, and we thank you very much for all those efforts. And of course, I think that it's been mentioned several times, but when you look through our textbooks, you see the design, you see the covers of these books, you see, the quality that's been put into them, and we've got to thank nothing but Kim David and the EDP team for an incredible job that they do. So a round of applause for them. So before I introduce our closing speaker, I do want to acknowledge some people that do incredible work behind the scene. And for those of you that have attended these closing remarks before, we always acknowledge their efforts, but it is, unbelievable, especially in a meeting like this with all the technology, all the hookups, hardwiring, wireless networks, etc. They were being bombarded with questions this week and things where they needed to respond immediately with about 2 minutes notice, and they came through and did a phenomenal job. So I'd like to acknowledge them and have them come up to the stage. Janet Rowling, Tammy Ben, Darlene Schuler, and Janet Conley, will you come up to the stage? Go ahead. It's especially acknowledged that Darlene survived all the bird attacks this year. She's definitely afraid of birds, and in the box room, they were flying all over this week, so she got through it. So let's move on to introducing our closing speaker. For those new to the company, it's a tradition at SEM to finish every sales meeting with a closing speaker. It's a great honor to be chosen for this, but it's an even greater honor for the audience to get a chance to hear about their story, to hear about these individuals that are part of our group, that gives us a glimpse into their life, into their family, that we could really appreciate beyond the business sense, but what great people they really are. Today's closing speaker is no exception, but let me give you a couple of quick details about Wayne Vincent. He has a diverse work history. Before joining McGraw-Hill, he'd worked as an employee's benefit intern with a company called Cunningham & Butler in 1990 to 92. He was a securities manager for Kemper Clearing Corporation from 92 to 93, and then went on to be a marketing coordinator with Kendall Hunt. Now, Wayne's had a lot of different jobs, so it's about 5 pages. But since joining McGraw-Hill as an advertising coordinator in February of 1998, Wayne has fostered creativity and innovation with all the projects that he's been involved with. He piloted the first McGraw-Hill higher education email campaign generator and was the advertising coordinator on the launch of Alex. In 2001, he was promoted to advertising manager, where he managed a department of 3 coordinators. His department led the SEM transition from print collateral to the direct mail to electronic promotional systems. From 2002 to 2007, he served as our internet marketing manager, where he deployed web-based systems for supporting sales and marketing. He helped develop the President's Club website and market development across all of our events and a number of other systems. Since June of 2007, Wayne has served as the Senior Digital Promotions Manager. His responsibilities include working with individual product teams to develop promotional campaigns, spearheading marketing promotions from cross-discipline and MHHE-wide products, assembling and putting together the great prep materials that you've seen in front of you this week, and the policies of our customer privacy issues that we obviously see a lot of him when you see, make sure you have your security warning at the bottom of your emails. He's our security officer, so we got to make sure that we're in full compliance. So let's give him, credit where credit is due. He does a phenomenal job there. Now, I asked Wayne for some fun facts about himself, and this is what he gave me. He graduated with less than stellar degrees, no, I'm just kidding, from University of Wisconsin, Whitewater with a BBA in marketing. He has been a part of 2 corporate achievement awards, our company's highest honor. Those awards were in 2001 with the Alex product line, and 2005, the market development process that was initiated and developed through this company. He has been an avid fan of the Green Bay Packers since birth and is a stockholder in the corporation. We won't hold that against him. He has a 12-pound cat named Reggie White. Interesting fact, he holds the Lancaster football team record for the most fumbles. Fumble recoveries. Okay. Thought he let me get away with that one. And he filled as a pastor at his church service. And pastor. He was at the pasture. There's a lot you're going to learn about Wayne here in a few minutes. And he was an experienced door-to-door meat salesman. No joke. It's true. So, In selecting these closing remark speakers, he's chosen because of his passion for education, his enthusiasm, and his positive attitude. That rubs off on all of us. His wife is here to join him in this exciting day. Lori, thank you for coming. Please stand up. We'd like to appreciate you coming to the meeting. So before Wayne comes up to the stage, I believe we have a public service announcement that we need to administer. So if you can go ahead and hit the video, we'll get started. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Thomas Tim.
And I'm Tamara Morey.
And we're here to warn you that the presenter you are about to see is not your typical closing speaker.
A few of you out there know Wayne very well, like we do.
Yet there are many of you who do not.
And that's why we thought we should warn you.
He's really not that remarkable.
Well, what Thomas is trying to say is Wayne has a position in the company that's not really very high profile.
He flies under the radar.
It's kind of a loose cannon.
As a matter of fact, we're scratching our heads wondering why he was selected.
Oh, come on. It's the nude pictures, Acrawl.
Shh, we don't know that for sure.
Oh, right. We don't know why he was selected.
We're fairly sure that there was a good reason.
Nonetheless, management would like to issue this disclaimer.
We can't guarantee that Wayne will stay on topic.
Or have a topic.
Or even be very interesting.
Exactly. That's because Wayne suffers from something called acute creativity syndrome.
I don't even know what that means.
So for those of you who enjoy a straightforward, no-nonsense presentation,
Well, you'll learn a lot about an important topic.
and come away with a deep emotional connection with the speaker,
You're probably SOL.
that means shit out of luck. So consider this your warning,
You got about 30 seconds before Wayne gets up here, so use that time wisely.
and grab a couple of extra beers for this one.
Because you're probably going to need them.
So without further ado, please welcome Wayne Vincent to the stage.
Suddenly I'm up on top of the world. It should have been somebody else. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on
All right.
a wing and a prayer.
Is this thing on? All right. Can you hear me okay? Yep. Is it on? All right, great. Oops. Yeah, I'm not your typical closing speaker. Usually I'm sitting back there with Randy. No offense, Randy. But this is very cool to be standing up here with you today, or in front of you today. Again, Chad said some really nice things about me. Although he couldn't say them clearly, they were very nice things. But again, here just in print, this is basically what I do for the company. If someone was to ask for my resume, this is probably what I would send them. What you don't see is the fine print of what I really do. And for the most part, you in the audience know the information booth who's calling me all the time saying, I'm sorry, I know you're probably not the person I'm supposed to be calling, but could you help me or direct me to the right person? Thanks, Jeff, for raising your hand. The one that I like the most here, though, is Captain Creative, and that's kind of the thing that's, if someone was to tell you, who's this Wayne guy, they'd say, oh, he's the creative guy in the company. If you need some help on something, you've been working in a meeting for about 2 hours, going through all the detail, and nothing's working, give him a call in the last 10 minutes and bring him in on it. Because that's the best time, and just tell him to go. But I got to tell you, it's the greatest job ever. For many of you, you guys, you've been training this week, you're ready, you're prepared, you know the products that you've got, you're going to go out there on campus, you know the schools you're going to call on, so you've got a basic plan ahead of you. I don't. I know the products, I know that we got to talk about them, but it's not until I actually get back from this meeting that we talk about how we're going to spread the message. It could be crazy, it could be blogs, it could be social media, it could be whatever, but every year, basically, I get to plan out what it is I do in a year. So maybe I poked a little bit of fun at myself in that opening video. I really do have a topic. It's called creativity. But I really only have 3 goals. And the first one is you're going to get to learn a little bit about me, because I'm probably never going to be invited back to the stage again after today. So this is my one shot. I want you to laugh, think, and feel. In the creative process, you have to do that. You have to be emotional. I mean, you've got a lot of information. You need that information, but it's not until you start bringing in your emotion that you start connecting the dots. And lastly, I'm going to tell you a little bit about yourself. So creativity, big word. So how many creative people do we have in the audience? Okay, that's exactly what I thought would happen. Now I'm going to tell you guys, every single one of you are extremely creative. In fact, Andy Sett told me even today, he goes, I can't believe how creative SEM is over the other, I'm not going to say which imprint. Sorry, Andy, maybe I threw you on the bus. But everybody in this room is extremely creative, and I'm going to go through this process and tell you how that's kind of defined me, and hopefully you can relate to a lot of what it is that's in your life, professionally and personally, that make you creative. So I'm not going to read through this, but basically it's a process. You guys have been studying scripts all week. The creativity process is what do you do when you get out there in the field and something goes wrong? Or you come up with an alternative route and it doesn't fit the script. You have to ad-lib, you have to improvise a little bit. And that's basically what creativity, I feel, is about. I like this quote because, I mean, if you talk to any CEO or any leader of industry, they're going to tell you that creativity or innovation is essential. I happen to like this one a lot because 3M is a good case model. Many of you know that Post-it notes come from 3M. Well, the glue for Post-it notes originally was supposed to be this super sticky super glue, and they failed miserably. They spent a lot of money on R&D and research, and they came up initially with this glue that didn't stick at all. It was very just tacky. And they put it aside for 12 years. It wasn't until about 12 years of them just kind of using that glue to put little notes to themselves around the office that someone said, hey, why don't we try selling that? And today there are over 600 products that use that kind of glue. So again, when you do creativity, sometimes you think, this is going to work, you can turn it into something profitable. On the personal side, I like this quote. I'm not going to repeat it because Benji here was born in the 1700s, and that's not really an easy phrase to say. But basically what he's trying to say is you need to live a creative life. So how many of you guys played with your Play-Doh? Quite a few. How many didn't touch it at all or slid it to the person next to you? You're not going to admit it. Good for you, Mark. So why is that? Well, first of all, Play-Doh is a little childish, but a lot of times when you're being creative in the office, a lot of times people misinterpret that as you're goofing around or playing. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes you are being creative. But we don't want to take a risk. Sometimes we're a little afraid of looking stupid, not coming up with the right thing. And basically being creative is taking a risk. What I'm going to talk about is just briefly believe, learn, challenge, and then you got to do it. In a kind of an interesting way, I'm going to do it in my life, Wayne's World, party on. Okay. I know, I'm a good-looking guy. I haven't changed much. Maybe a little bit. I was born on November 20th, 1969. Okay, stop, don't do the math. I'll tell you right now, I just celebrated my 40th birthday. For the younger people in here, 40 years ago, man first landed on the moon and walked on it. There was this little concert called Woodstock. I had very young parents. That's my dad in his college graduation gown. Unfortunately, they were both colorblind. And they thought I was a girl. But what they were great at is, as leaders of bringing up children. Both my parents were entrepreneurs, both owned their own businesses, and they took us kids everywhere. We went camping, fishing. We went to see everything in the continental United States, I think, from the Grand Canyon to Disney World to the world's biggest ball of wax. And it's great from an experiential process of just building up everything that I know. What's really scary about this picture is I remember this picture taken at this age and thinking how old my dad was. So going through the old pictures and getting this out, I realized my dad's 4 years younger there than I am right now. Ugh. So besides my tie being scary, that's kind of scary, but these are my sisters. First, my mom and dad is Dennis and Marcia Vincent. My sister on the rung right below me is Julie Vincent, Tiona, and my youngest sister, Angela. And Kent's not the only one. When growing up, I really like to get dressed up in costume. Not even just for Halloween, just around the house. But part of that is just acting out, getting out some of my creativity. And part of believing is just believing in yourself, having that confidence. So you can kind of see I'm not lacking much confidence, to much people's surprise up here on the stage. Fortunately, when I was young, I had a very scarring incident, and I'm saying fortunately. When I was 7 years old, this is a costume my mom made. That's thermal underwear I'm wearing. And a really great Adam West type Batman mask that she's sewn with cape. Ladies' gloves, ladies' boots. Again, they thought I was a girl. But the picture is taken right before I'm going to school that day. We had a Halloween costume party that day, and so Mom got this all dressed up for me. What you don't see in this picture is me waiting for the bus, me getting on the bus, me looking through my little Batman eyes at all these kids not in costume. Nobody else was dressed up. So I got to school that day, and to say I was teased a little bit is an understatement. But it actually wasn't that bad, because actually during the morning I got used to it, and I kind of liked it. I started playing back a little bit. And before long, everybody just loved it. I remember the recess quite distinctly, going out on the jungle gyms and chasing kids as a Caped Crusader. And by the end of the day, I wished every day I could get dressed up in costume and keep coming to school in costume. It was awesome. The second part of believing is just a little bit of validation. I'm very fortunate. I get people calling me creative all the time. And I'm telling you right now, I'm validating. You guys are all very creative. But I was very fortunate at a young age. This is me in my freshman year at school. I was a horrible student. Horrible student. I would get D's on open book tests. That's how bad I was. No joke. And that's not because I was stupid. It's just because I was lazy. I didn't have focus. I really didn't think I had to study. Fortunately for me, and my English teacher, had a different opinion. She had this contest. It was the Frito-Lay, you can't eat just one potato chip jingle contest. Well, of course, I took the homework home and didn't do anything with it until about 10 minutes before class was going to start, and then I panicked. I had to get something in. And I remember her saying, well, if we get this handed in and we turn it in, we can maybe get an A if you win first place. National contest, all right. So I'm writing, and I'm trying to think, what am I going to write? What am I going to write? And I get to thinking, and I was thinking about a chip, maybe a musical note. And you eat one chip, and maybe it builds into kind of a melody, and that melody gets faster, and it builds a crescendo. And then it gets going and going, and then you get to the last chip, and your mouth says encore. So I wrote that all down, counted the words, 50. Great, turned it in. Damned if I didn't win first place. So I guess what I'm saying here is, to be creative, you need to procrastinate a lot. No, what was great about this was, besides the $1,000 check and the automatic A in the class, I got a lot of validation. And also my teacher's eyes opened up a little bit and said, hey, this kid's a slacker. And that's right. So they got me involved in more stuff. I got more creative stuff. I actually did a lot of plays. I was in forensics, speech, etc. And this was a great moment for me, because other people validated my creativity. So that was believe. The next part's learning. And for this, I'm just going to use the middle part of my life. Again, not much has changed. I still look damn handsome. This is me at 16. This is me with my to-be bride. I didn't know it at the time. I'm a sophomore in high school. She's a senior. This is prom. I look like a scared deer caught in headlights. So did my dad. And then I was all avid in sports, too. Really love sports. But I did straighten, excuse me, I did straighten straighten the road a lot, and I got on track, and I actually did very well in school. I got mostly A's. Was National Honor Society through high school, and then went to college at University of Whitewater. Actually graduated with honors, so if you thought you need to check on my graduation, I actually did graduate. That's me shaking the chancellor's hand. So what's this got to do with learning? Quite a bit, quite a lot. So this whole week you guys have been learning, and it's about building up this basis of knowledge. And you got to do that a little bit before you start becoming creative. And like I was saying before, it wasn't really that I was lazy about studying, it was just that I didn't know how to. Oops. And at the University of Whitewater, they're really good. They actually did an analysis, and I found out, heck, I've just been studying the wrong way. I'm not a verbal person. People talking to me, reading books, it doesn't help as much as the walkthroughs or the demos or hands-on. I'm very visual. So I gravitated towards the more visual arts. And of course, you see like the storyboards in the center. I kind of gravitated towards the more marketing arts and graduated with a degree in marketing. So after you learn how to learn and you're able to absorb more information, how do you turn that creative switch on? For me, it's about pop culture. So quite often I'll be watching TV and I'll get an idea for something. Actually, the TV show Lost was directly responsible for me getting the idea for the Brooker website, where Rob Brooker and the other authors come on and they start talking while they're on the website. Turning the switch on is often hard for many people. Maybe it's coming out of the shower or in the shower and you're thinking about something. Maybe you're driving to work. And for many of you, if all else fails, you just start drinking. And let me tell you, you haven't seen creativity until you follow Mark Haas down Bourbon Street. Or at least try to. And you also have to learn your passion. You gotta want to do things. So I was doing a lot of things on stage as an actor or doing things in a role, but I really enjoyed being behind the camera. And it kind of defines what I do now, because I like directing a lot of different roles. I love working with every marketing team, getting a lot of different ideas, working with sales reps. Thank you. Working with a lot of different sales reps on their webinars and things like that to make sure they get their message across. That's good. But that's basically learning what you want to do. So the last part here is challenge. Building a life is a big challenge. And I thought once I got out of college, things were going to just be smooth, because I'm going to be making money, life is going to be great, right? No, it gets harder. But again, it has a lot more reward. Part of that challenge was building a home. That's our lot. And that's our house. And if any of you have built a house, you know how challenging that can be. And putting a family in it can be very challenging. I have 3 great kids. Bradley, who's my oldest, is 11. He's exactly like me, little clone. He's getting D's in open book tests. But he's also very creative. Allie, she's my little sweetheart. She can tell me stories. In fact, she looks me right in the eye and lies. Convincingly. And, you know, the other kids will look at me and go, Dad, you know she's lying to you. And I'm like, I didn't know that. But she has her dad's heart. And my youngest, James, is pretty brilliant. It's kind of funny, because when you go from the 11-year-olds teacher conferences to the 7-year-olds, it's night and day. You get to the 7-year-olds, and the teachers are like, oh, I love your child. I wish I could have 15 more like him so I could prolong my career here at school. He is very brilliant. He's just a great kid, very happy to learn. And part of the challenge is just making sure that your kids have the same kind of life you do when you're growing up. I want them to experience the same things, be comfortable in their own skins, take them on trips, etc., and build that belief. And again, Mom and Dad get dressed up in costume right along with the kids. So challenge. Let me get back to the house thing. So how many of you have built a house or made a major reconstruction on your house? Okay, how many of you, everything went smoothly? Dan, yours went smoothly? Oh my gosh. I'll tell you, one of the most creative things about building a house was the swear words Lori and I came up with. Our contractor, when we first started looking at our house plans, we had the plan for a walled-in staircase, and we said we definitely want it open. So he said, okay, just put it next to the plans and no problem. When it got time to doing the finishing work, of course, they did some measuring and said, hey, it's not up to code. You can't have an open staircase. What do you mean? can't have an open staircase. That's going to ruin our whole foyer. So we did some thinking and some swearing that night, and we came up with an idea, and that was, don't have the staircase go all the way up to the top. Why don't you just go right up into the ceiling? So it kind of took some convincing of a very creative carpenter, but we got it to work. Now, the positive and negative thing is, if we had known at the beginning that this was going to be an issue, we would have shortened up our upstairs by about a foot, and that would have been hellish for the kids' room, especially with the closet. So now we have the added width, plus we got this pretty unique look. When people come in the house, they don't normally notice this, but of course, I point it out, don't I, Lori? But they think it's pretty cool. But we all face that. We all face challenges, and hopefully we can either smooth them out or maybe turn around in our favor. Taking a risk, again, this is my oldest son, Brad. He got into a play, didn't even tell us he was getting into a play. So I'm very proud that our children are able to take risks, and he's always been able to do this. In fact, at the age of 5, he was watching SpongeBob SquarePants, and some special episode, the character took its pants off. Well, he decided that'd be funny too, so he took off his pants and underwear, kept his shirt and socks on, and ran around out in the yard. So I don't have a picture of that. My neighbors might. But risk is something that we all face and challenge. And my challenge is social media. So that's going to be my challenge this year. Your challenge is selling all this technology that you've been looking at all week, you've been scripting, and you've been challenging yourself with. It's something that's scary, but we're going to get through it. And the last part here of the challenge is just expressing your creativity. Well, you really have some great managers, especially the executive team. But I'm telling you, that opening video that I did, if you remember back on Monday, seems like 2 months ago, I know. But on that opening video, it was like herding cats. I had 2 days, and I had to get all the sales managers to get in front of the camera. I had to get the executive team in front of the camera. And I'm telling you, they're like, some of them are little prima donnas. Some of them aren't interested in being in the camera at all. Some of them just, it's playtime to be in front of the camera. That's a challenge for me, but it's also kind of a double-edged sword. It's letting their creativity show up. So instead of me just telling you all about this, I'll just show you some of the outtakes from that video.
Are you ready? I think I just need to get in character and prep for a minute here. Because I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
And the Math and Stats team.
That's good. Let's do one more of those just so we have 2 of those with the right cover.
You are important to the Math and Stats team.
Let's try it again, and this time say, you are important to the Math and Stats team.
That's exactly what I just said.
Only the inflection is a little different.
What? You are
No,
important
you
to the Math
said
and
it that way. I
Stats
just
team.
want to say Okay, Andy, we're ready to record.
All right, 1 second. I'm just checking my stocks.
Isn't that a fantasy football website?
No. No, I'm ready.
The Math and Stats, because it's a list. People are saying
Got it.
their groups. Just work with me. I thought you were one take.
I did my one.
I didn't know that take took an hour.
Okay,
All
we're
right.
ready here. Okay.
Is that a cat haiku book you have up on your shelf?
Yeah, sure is. It's a book of poems about cats. Linda Avenarius gave it to me.
I'd like to hear one.
All right, let's see. I got one bookmarked here. One of my favorites. What does it feel like to be big, hairless, tailless, and pink? Bad, I'll bet. That kind of reminds me of Chad Grawl.
Hi, Brad. How are you? Good. You know, President, I was thinking about becoming a political figure in the greater Green Bay area. What do you think of that? That sounds like a great idea. You sure you want to do it? No.
Are you ready to do this?
Yep, just a second.
All right.
All right.
Kind of got a bad haircut, so maybe I can try something. Just kind of see what it looks like.
What? I don't know. You look fine to me.
But I don't know. I've been taking a lot of heat from Kurt. You know, kind of a bald spot. So I don't know. With a cheap haircut.
Hey, do what you got to do.
I don't know. Let me try something.
All right.
All right.
All right.
What do you think?
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Come on.
You hold it together.
Shut up. You are important to the physical.
She was moving.
You got it. You are important to the physical and geosciences team.
Raina, why don't you give us the 1, 2, 3, and then?
Yeah.
You are important to the physical and geosciences team.
What is so freaking funny?
I was fine for the first 10 days. Oh no, she's She's crying now.
All right.
Then go-
You know what I need? I need some more feedback. How should I be doing this? Because I've only done it like 8 or 10 times, Thomas.
You are important to your community through the employee gift campaign. No, it's not. It's not the employee gift campaign. It's not.
Yeah, well, it's employee giving campaign.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that. It says employee gift campaign.
It's the same thing.
No, it's not. I mean, the corporate people take this thing seriously. So it's employee giving campaign.
Oh,
just
okay.
can you just change the board?
Well, you can remember that, right?
You know, there's a lot of stuff I need to read. I can't remember it. You know, I got a lot of stuff to do here, and I don't have time doing these videos that you're having. Okay?
All right.
Okay, if you don't want to change this, it's fine. I'll do it live. Okay? I'll just do it. You just put the board down. I'll do it. Okay. You are important to the community. Through the McGraw-Hill Employee Giving Campaign, you support not only your community, but the community across the country. Okay? Okay? I'm done. That phone's not supposed to ring. Damn it!
All right, I forgot to put my power cord in, and I see my computer's about ready to time out here. And great. So remember when I told you about turning a negative situation into a positive one?
Yeah.
Well, actually, you just need to do it, and this is the ultimate thing is doing the believe, and you have to challenge, and you have to learn, and it's not always easy, and in some aspects, it isn't until something really bad happens in your life that you're able to make a change. And when things are going really well, you want to keep it going really well. So why make a change? And I just have 3 instances where I just want to tell you about, because they are very responsible for what makes me who I am today. The first one is when my sister was 17 years old, she went through a bout of depression and ended up taking her own life. And that ripped the heart out of our family, basically. But the other thing was she was very creative, and probably the most creative person I've known. And at that time, you want to do what you can to help fill that void in your family. So I kind of took it upon myself to be that person, to go ahead and say, you know, right or wrong, I wanted to live that life for both of us. And that helped me kind of focus in my career. The other thing in life, you know, life has been great. And Lori and I have had 3 great kids, or have 3 great kids, but before that, it took a while to get pregnant. We were trying very hard, and we managed to get pregnant, and when it came time to delivery, we ran into some medical issues, and we ended up losing the child and almost losing Lori at the time too. And coming out of that, it was very tough for both of us, but we got through it. And the thing is you hear about people saying it's the most dramatic thing, and some people split up over it, but I can't imagine us being any tighter together. And I can't imagine our kids being any more spoiled than they are, because we decided that we were going to dedicate and make sure that our family was going to be the best family. Whoops. And this last part here, about a year and a half ago, and this, I'm going to make a long story short, for about 50 hours, I thought I might have cancer. I didn't, I don't, but it was a 50-day scare. Keep saying 50 day. 50-hour scare. I went in for gallstone. I thought I had gallstones, did an ultrasound. They said they found a 2-inch spot on my liver. So during that time that they did the next process, they were going to do a CAT scan. Of course, going home, I'm a nervous wreck, scared. You do some Googling, you find a lot of scary stuff out there. And during that time, I remember feeling a lot of regret, because I'm young, and I thought, you know what, I've kind of been coasting. I've had a great life, but I haven't been challenging a lot of things. We've been putting a lot of things off with the kids. I hadn't even taken them to their first Badger game yet. And I thought, I'm not going to have this chance. I also thought about work. And actually, at that time, I was scared I was going to be able to get up on the stage. I was thinking, I'm never going to get this chance. I never took a risk. I never tried to do more with my career. So I know a lot of people this week have been asking me, are you nervous? Are you scared to get up here? A year and a half ago, if Chad would have asked me to do closing remarks, I might have said, you know what, can you find somebody else that's more suitable to be up here? And my stomach would have been tied in knots. But to be honest with you, I was more scared not to get up here. And I'm actually kind of giddy to be up here to do this. So that's something that turned me around. And I want you to know, you just got to do it. You got to have a creative life. I mean, and that's personal and in your professional life. There's more creative time with family, which I did take them to the first Badger game. That means experiencing everything. Again, I just turned, whoops. So I just turned 40. Don't think I have a power strip. Let me check one more time. Talks amongst yourselves. I thought I did too. Oh. No, it's the computer cord. It's okay. Oh. 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 So I tried to do this to prove my point. I'm still proving my point. Again, part of being creative is putting yourself out there and trying different things. And again, I just turned the big 4-0, and Lori and I, we love going to Vegas because you can party big in Vegas. And you can take in everything it has to offer. That's a bong. And the best part of it is I got to experience the whole thing with my wife. Believe it or not, that's not even Photoshop. That's real. No, this is my favorite Photoshop piece. How often do you get to ding 2 presidents in one shot? But you got to have fun at work, and I do. I have a lot of fun. This is actually a lot of fun for me, being able to talk to you guys. And you got to keep that enjoyment. And playing, like with Play-Doh, seems silly. Keep creative. Keep a fun life. It'll help you. It'll help you with your creativity. A lot of creative managers. I've got them all. Every manager I've had here since joining McGraw-Hill, and they've been great. And you guys have creative managers too, and I can see it in the sessions when they've, when things aren't going so well and maybe technology's failing us. We're scrambling like creative monkeys. And I have the most creative coworkers. And that's all of you guys. And I can't say enough. I want to ask you again. How many in this room think they're creative? Come on. Clap if you think you're creative. All right. I think I've done my job here then, and before anything else happens to my computer, I'm just going to leave you with this. If you still don't think you've gotten it yet, and you still think you need permission, here it is.
Go. Create.
My best friend gave me the best advice. He said each day's a gift and not a given right. Leave no stone unturned, leave your fears behind, and try to take the path less traveled by. That first step you take is the today was your last day, and tomorrow was too late, could you say goodbye to yesterday? Would you live each moment like your last? Leave old pictures in the past. Donate every night you had. If today was your last day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. This is fun.
Every second counts, 'cause there's no second try. So live like you've never lived twice. Don't take the free ride in your own life. If today was your last day, and tomorrow was too late, could you say